Hands up if you've played volleyball before. Isn't it fun? What's not fun is the extensive equipment required, but we came up with a solution. Boardball is a new sport that we created that aims to lower the barriers of playing volleyball. Instead of hitting over a traditional net, you're hitting onto a portable and compact board. Think spikeball meets volleyball. The game is competitive, dynamic, and provides a new way of playing time and anywhere. In the summer of 2020, we went viral on the Score media. People started asking, what's boardball? Where can I get a board? So we incorporated that night. Outdoor sports and games are one of the most lucrative aspects of the global toy and game market, valued at $26 billion. The combined growth in volleyball and the outdoor sports and games industries provide an ideal opportunity to introduce a new sport that aligns with both of these markets. We ran a Kickstarter campaign and exceeded our goal and started to build a completely new product. Now, you may think boardball would be perfect for places like California and Florida, sunshine states lined with beach volleyball. But in fact, the reality was that we were making volleyball much more accessible, and therefore we were poised for growth nationwide. Within the first month of launch, we were already available in over 40 US states and all Canadian provinces. We discovered 3 key user segments: volleyball enthusiasts, recreational sport lovers, and institutions and colleges. And as our sport grew, our team has as well. We brought on 2 volleyball Olympians, and one of which is a world beach volleyball champion. Now, boardball is not only a new sport, it's a community that people want to be a part of. We added a virtual component to our boards, like Peloton, encouraging boardballers to connect, access giveaways, and provide UGC. We're building our lifestyle brand through accessories and merchandise, and we're planning events and tournaments, and with groups of people even interested in leagues. And we're so excited to see how people have leveled up the game, but we're even more excited to grow the brand globally. Leading up to the pitch, we had the opportunity to prepare through our POB interviews. And while we did score highly, we discussed at length that the real opportunity here is to execute flawlessly on building the brand and engaging our community. This is the way to maximize our LTV, and we recognize that this will be our main advantage as first movers in this sport. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda, for your great presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've gone to market and how you're selling the boards?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually are now D2C and also B2B. Primarily, a lot of our business goes through our Shopify site, and that's been our focus. And also scaling through our B2B channels, which is through distributors that sell through Amazon, Walmart, Target, and as well as partners who work with directly through schools and institutions as well.
Great. And how did you come onto the institutional channel? I think that's a really interesting one for you.
Yeah, certainly. And it's definitely one that we're looking to scale even further, just because the programming, the curriculum around it has so much potential. Truthfully, we've been very successful with a lot of our organic efforts. We've been blessed with some like PR that has worked really well for us. Groups have taken interest and done outreach to us. And so really, we've just been working on building the right kind of partnerships and the right kind of ecosystems around volleyball and around sports that allowed us to scale in both directions on the D2C side as well as the B2B side.
Amanda, if I can ask, how do you view spikeball in general? Do you view it as your biggest competitor? Do you view them as a line, as, you know, market's big enough for lots of different sports of this nature?
Yeah, so I might have said earlier, like volleyball, I mean, boardball really is a combination of volleyball and spikeball. I think what spikeball has done so successfully is really paved the way for our category in general for alternative sports. So they've really opened up the idea of this concept of alternative sports for us. And I do think that while they're a competitor, they're also a market leader in actually expanding our category. And I think there's space for multiple players in this place. I think that spikeball has done a lot of great things in terms of like elevating their sport, building their brand. And what Boardball has come to do is actually provide an alternative way to really leverage volleyball and leverage volleyball techniques for those who want to continue to play that in an accessible way.
I'm excited because this is actually something that I think I've seen on TikTok. Is that correct?
That is our biggest driver of success to date through our organic efforts. So I'm very happy that it's reached.
So I watch a lot of, particularly basketball, stuff on TikTok, and it showed up in my feed. I watched it, and I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting thing. So this is very exciting. What I'm interested in is, understanding, the cost of manufacturing and what kind of margins you're generating on a sale. And I'm assuming that your sale, is primarily focused on the product itself, but then you've got a whole line extension that goes along with that.
Yeah, for sure. So our product right now is really that entry point to our customer. And beyond that, we would love to build that ecosystem. I think that that's what we're really hoping to gain out of this experience, is to help further our LTV and how to like re-engage customers and really build that recurring revenue. To date, like we've only really been in operation for about a year, and we've basically sold out in 4 months and then been able to double our actual order volume in the next season after. Our focus right now is actually on optimizing our costs, just because as a first entry, as you guys know, and especially through a pandemic, you're probably hit with some hard costs that were very unexpected. However, even saying that, we were still able to achieve margins that were fairly average in terms of like how we should be doing at this point. And we're actually pacing towards profitability, which is great to see and great to like also kind of see the rewards that have been put in already. I'd say that like our focus is really optimizing that cost to even drive our margins further. From a D2C standpoint, I think it's quite healthy. From B2B standpoint, I think that's where we could really use some help in like really bringing down that cost so that we have more margin to work with our partners so that we can scale a lot faster.
What's your projected break even, like 6 months or?
Right now, it's actually, we're about 2 months out, which is super exciting. Yeah.
That's fantastic. What would it look like for you to win LiONS LAIR? What do you hope for from this?
So one of the things, and I'm not sure if can I go back to one of the slides?
Yeah.
So one of the big areas of focus for us is, I've mentioned it, but I think what Peloton has done with their community with hardware and tech and virtual communities has been awesome to kind of like follow that model. But with Boardball, we want people to play and then engage with us while they're playing for both UGC reasons, for both LTV reasons. So if we could leverage the investments coming in to help build that virtual component to our game, I think that would really drive this brand further than any other alternative sport has ever done. And so that's where I see a lot of the value coming in. I think already the brand itself has a lot of hype, has a lot of energy. People love the community around it. It's just providing us with the opportunities to actually build the infrastructure to house that kind of ecosystem. And that's really where, one of our big areas of opportunity is.
It seems like a really interesting idea, and I'd love to hear what steps you've taken to prevent someone else from releasing a near identical product.
For sure. So I think the one thing we protect very heavily is our brand. We have trademarks in our major markets, and we also have a design patent on our actual product. So with sports in general, you can't really own the motion of things, right? But you can definitely own the design and the actual equipment that allows you to play. And right now, as a first mover in the space, there's no one in the market that is actually providing this type of sport out there. And so it's kind of our job to really take control of the sport itself and really build on that brand so that we're really creating that loyalty towards what we do.
I'm curious, I mean, you've obviously got an online presence and online sales. What's the reach? Like what markets are you growing in most quickly? And are there other markets that you're hoping to get some traction?
Yeah, one of the most fascinating things about Boardball was I had the assumption that, a game like this would be perfect for California, perfect for Florida, perfect for Texas. But very quickly, we learned that we served the purpose of what we created the game to do. It became more accessible. It was a more accessible version of volleyball. And therefore, very quickly, within our first month, we were already across 40 US. Is our dominant market right now. That's partially because that's where our actual logistics and supply chain is set up most predominantly. We have a lot of opportunity to grow in Australia, which has shown demand. We haven't actually had the ability to grow there because of, more so the investment in and the actual team that we're working with. But Australia has a really big demand. And what was really enlightening was the EU. So we have connections with a lot, like our volleyball players that are on our team, they play professionally in the EU. And with that kind of experience there, we've actually been able to open up a lot of demand there. And so the hope is really to take Boardball, and the ultimate goal is to go global. And I think we can do it.
That's exciting. What are your next big milestones that you're looking for? Obviously, profitability is one of them. What other things are next on the horizon for you?
For sure. So we just touched on it, but definitely market expansion would be very major for us. Optimizations of actually releasing a new product just to allow for more SKUs. And the third is really, again, what I harped on earlier is building that community through that virtual component. I think if we can really nail that down, and we've already introduced it in our first run, we didn't have the virtual component. And in our second run, when we doubled the orders, we actually have all the boards come with QR codes, and therefore they come with a virtual experience. So I think those are the three areas in which we will find as really big milestones to achieve and would really exponentially improve our business.
I'm curious about the, from a product perspective, are there any parts of the product that will break down before others?
In terms of the material itself?
Correct.
Yeah, so we definitely looked into a lot, like when we did a ton of different prototypes, we did a ton of different samples to come to the combination of materials together. The actual outdoor games market, like you are looking at a turnaround of anywhere between 2 to 10 years, depending on the product itself. For us, we're kind of in the middle of that. No specific material would break down further. Some may wear and tear quicker, especially the surface as an example, but all of those components are replaceable. And so in our program, we do have a warranty. We have, right now, especially as an early brand, we're working with any kind of customer who has any kind of problem to really rectify those issues earlier on and find ways to, again, as we optimize, also improve the product itself.
When you look at the future, be it 2, 5 years away, how would you define success?
Yeah, so I think 2 to 5 years away, certainly we want to be able to say that we are global. I think that's like for us, like we're growing not only a brand, we're growing a sport. It's transferable in every kind of market. Not that Egypt is on our radar, but we've already got connections there who they're interested in that. I think that would be just like a great goal to be able to say, Boardball is played globally. Right now, based on sales, we're estimating that 6,000 people have actually played Boardball, which is incredible. In 1 year, that's the amount of people who play a game that you were playing as a hobby. I think that's so cool to see that kind of erupt into something that people can play all around the world. That would be the ultimate goal in 2 to 5 years.
Thank you so much, Amanda. It's a very exciting technology and game that you've come up with.
I hope you can play it sometime.
Yeah.
We got enough people here.